Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about the a6400 from Sony. I just want to start off by saying that I think this is going to be a great camera, and there's a very high chance that this is going to be my next camera. That said, there are some very stupid things about this camera that we're going to discuss today. Specifically, we're going to talk about two things. The fact that it has a stupid flip up screen, and the fact that it does not have in-body stabilization. Now, if you've been watching YouTube videos, you probably know that everybody has been giving Sony flack about these two things. But the thing that bothers me is that all of these channels seem to be making excuses for Sony. You know, they're like, oh, I wish we had all these things, but we understand why you didn't put them in there. So I actually wholeheartedly disagree with all of that. I think we're not giving Sony a hard enough time. And so we're going to talk about these things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that flip up screen. So Sony has been saying that the flip up screen is better in some cases. Maybe it's better for photographers or something. It's easier to get low angle shots if you have a, flip down screen or something like that. I think that's all nonsense. It's ludicrous. If every single YouTube reviewer is telling you that they would rather have a flip out screen, are you saying that all of them are wrong and only Sony is right? Literally, if you look on YouTube, nobody prefers the flip up screen. Okay, and these are all people who make videos, and some of them are photographers for a living. They make money making videos, and they make money shooting pictures. And they're telling you they don't like that screen. So to me, that is a total non-starter. There is absolutely no advantage to a flip up screen compared to a flip out screen. So what's the real reason why Sony won't put a flip out screen on their camera? I think it's because they don't want to do an expensive camera body redesign. They don't want to have to go back to the drawing board and come up with a new body. They're happy with taking the a6300 and then just adding an extra bracket so that the screen can flip out just a little bit farther. That's it. They just want to save money. They don't want to have to make new bodies. They don't want to have to spend any extra money. That's the real reason. All right, so that's enough about that flip up screen. Everybody's sick and tired of hearing about the flip up screen. Let's talk about the in-body stabilization. That is the more interesting thing. So one of the excuses that I have been hearing is that the a6400 is an entry-level camera, and so that's why it doesn't have the in-body stabilization. Okay, it's entry level. I think that's nonsense. Again, it's nonsense. Okay, if you look at Sony's past entry-level cameras, okay, the a300, the Alpha 55, the Alpha 58, the Alpha 65, the Alpha 68, all of these are entry-level DSLR cameras, and they've all had in-body stabilization. So you can't convince me that just because something is entry-level, that it can't have in-body stabilization. Some of these cameras, they're like $300-400 now, okay? And the a6400 is going to be a $900 camera. And you're telling me that you can't throw in in-body stabilization? Another talking point that I've been hearing from Sony is that including in-body stabilization will make the a6400 bigger. Again, I think that's nonsense, okay? Because if you look at the a6500, that camera has in-body stabilization. And I've seen videos where they put the a6400 right next to an a6500, and they're like, you see, the a6500 is a little bit bigger. And meanwhile, I'm like, what? Are you sure? I can't even tell the difference. Which one is the a6500? So if you ask me, I don't think size is a real reason, okay? You can get in-body stabilization into the a6400 with a minimal change in size, if any. And I think most of us would gladly take a slightly bigger camera for less shaky footage. I think it's so silly that something like Embody Stabilization, which is a mature technology, can be left out of a product in 2019. Okay? The A300 entry-level DSLR, that's over 10 years old, and it has this Embody Stabilization. For something to be released in 2019 without it, like, where else would that be considered acceptable? For example, can you imagine Elon Musk being like, hey, check it out. I have this new electric car, okay? And it can drive itself. But it's a Model 3. It's a $35,000 entry-level car, so it doesn't have air conditioning. Can you imagine that? There's no way he would get away with that. People would be flipping tables. And yet, here you got Sony offering a camera in 2019, charging $900 for it, and not including something that was in a $300 camera from 10 years ago. And the a6400 isn't even that entry level. The a5100, a6000, a6300, all of these are more entry level than the a6400. So let's be real here, okay? The real reason why Sony did not include Embody Stabilization in the a6400 is because of money, okay? It's all a big money grab, all right? It's because Sony offers stabilization in their lenses, and they want you to buy Sony lenses. They don't want you going and buying non-stabilized Sigma lenses. The battery from my LED light just died, and I just found out that it can't be recharged. I plug it in and it doesn't recharge. So that's fun. So now I'm using the video light on my flash instead. But back to what we were talking about, Sony wants you to buy their lenses, which are stabilized, instead of third-party lenses like Sigma. This tactic works. If this camera had in-body stabilization like the a6500, there would be no question that I would buy the Sigma 30mm 1.4. But because that lens doesn't have lens stabilization, now I'm considering buying the Sony 35mm f1.8 lens instead. So there's no doubt in my mind that this is a tactic. All right, Sony is very strongly disincentivizing you from buying other people's lenses. And it's all a way for us to give them more money. So in the end here, I think what Sony is doing is they are trolling you, okay, and trying to squeeze every last dollar out of you, okay, by not giving you a proper flip out screen, not putting in image stabilization. You know, other camera companies have been guilty of doing this kind of thing. Camera Conspiracies has very frequently called out Canon for this kind of tactic, but there's no doubt that Sony is taking a page out of Canon's playbook here, okay? They're holding back features, trying to get more money out of you, maybe also protecting some of their video camera or their cinema lines. It's all about money, and we're being screwed here. You know that saying that we should vote with our wallets? Unfortunately, that doesn't work in the camera market because there's so few players. You're either choosing between this evil or that evil. They're all evil. All of them are holding back features and trying to bleed you dry. It would be so easy for them to give us the perfect camera, okay? But they don't. A flip out screen is so easy to do. Embody Stabilization, that's been around for at least 10 years. It'd be nothing for them to put it in the camera. They're just trying to squeeze more money out of you. So anyway, that's it. That's my rant about the a6400. And like I said, I think this camera is going to be awesome for the autofocus alone. And I will probably end up buying this camera, as much as I hate Sony's strategy. I wish I could vote with my wallet and boycott this camera, but unfortunately it's the best that we have so far in the crop sensor space. And I will begrudgingly get one of these. So that's it. I'll see you in the next one.